Welcome to the third of my recap videos for the week. You are listening to the account with the report for Thursday, April 13th, or day 414 of the war in Ukraine. As the front lines and general staff reports are outdated, I will be skipping those segments. On this day, we had the anniversary of the sinking of the Moskva missile cruiser, more updates on the horrific Warcrime video, and additional updates on the leaked documents. All other news updates are grouped into the situation inside Ukraine, the occupied territories, Russia and Belarus, and international developments. And now for the anniversary. On April 13, 2022, Ukraine's naval forces hit the flagship of the Russian Black Sea Fleet with Ukrainian Neptune missiles, ultimately sinking it. Ukrainian Defense Minister Oleksandr Vilkul said that Ukraine's victory in the war is inevitable and the sunken Russian flagship will one day become a popular location for divers. Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky has signed a decree establishing April 13th as the Day of Employees of the Military-Industrial Complex. Today is an important day for us. On April 13th, 2022, a Ukrainian missile helped restore order in the Ukrainian waters of the Black Sea. Thanks to our Neptune, the enemy flagship went exactly where it belonged, like all other Russian warships. According to the president, that is why April 13th will be celebrated every year. Journalist Yuri Butusov has posted a video of the launch of two RK-360 Neptune missiles of the armed forces at the Moskva cruiser, the flagship of the Russian Black Sea Fleet. I will refrain from sharing any sensitive information and footage. However, due to the nature of the crime, it may be disturbing to some. Please skip this segment if you are not comfortable with this kind of information. Now, a look at the news surrounding the surfaced Warcrime video. Josep Borrell, High Representative of the European Union for Foreign Affairs and Security Policy, the Slovak Prime Minister Edvard Heger, and the Moldovan Foreign Ministry condemned the execution of a Ukrainian POW by Russian soldiers. Russia's Prosecutor General's office has announced that it will investigate the video showing a Ukrainian POW being beheaded by Russian soldiers. Ukraine's chief ombudsman, Dmytro Lubinets, meanwhile stated that the military intelligence agency has a rough idea of the details surrounding the murder. More updates on the leaked documents. According to documents, the war between Ukraine and Russia is expected to last until 2024, with neither side winning, but both refusing to negotiate an end to the conflict. Some documents leaked indicate that the Russian FSB is at odds with the Ministry of Defense over silencing Russia's actual losses. The person behind the massive leak of classified US government documents is a young gun lover who worked at a military base. He shared top-secret documents with a group of participants on the Discord platform. It is noted that a group of about 20 people, mostly men, united by an interest in weapons, military equipment and God, in 2020 formed a closed club on the popular online platform Discord. But they paid little attention last year when the man some call OG posted a message laden with strange acronyms and jargon. The words were unfamiliar and few people read the long note, one of the members explained. But he revered OG, the elder leader of their tiny tribe who claimed to know secrets that the government withheld from ordinary people. The participant carefully read OG's messages and hundreds more, which he said were sent regularly over several months. He noted that they were what appeared to be near verbatim transcripts of classified intelligence documents that OG indicated he had brought home from his job on a military base. OG claimed to have spent at least part of his day in a secure facility where cell phones and other electronic devices that could be used to document classified information stored on government computer networks or printed from printers were prohibited. The article by the Ukrainska Pravda has a lot of details in case you do not have access to the Washington Post. Later, it was reported that US federal investigators arrested a 21-year-old Air National Guardsman believed to be in connection with a massive US military intelligence leak. The suspect has been identified as Jack Teixeira, a member of the intelligence wing of the Massachusetts Air National Guard. Attorney General Merrick Garland said that Teixeira was arrested without incident relating to the unauthorized removal, retention, and transmission of classified national defense information. A look at all the minor updates out of Ukraine. The General Staff of Ukraine has shared photos of how the Forsvaret joint group of instructors from the armed forces of the Kingdom of Norway are training Ukrainian soldiers on how to operate Leopard 2 tanks and how to overcome tank obstacles using them. According to the State Statistics Service of Ukraine, the real GDP of Ukraine decreased by 29.1% in 2022. In an interview with the Ukrainska Pravda, Oleksandr Vilkul, head of the Kryvyi Rih military administration and former pro-Russian MP, stated that he believes that the concept of good Russians is merely a device being used to try and justify Russia's actions. When asked if there are good Russians, Vilkul replied, "I don't think so." When asked what he would do if he met Putin now, he stated, "If I had the opportunity to kill him, I would. There is full-scale aggression going on. Bloody orcs are destroying our homes, villages, and cities. In fact, I believe the end of the war can only be brought closer by the number of coffins that will go from here to Russia." When asked to be more specific, Vilkul said he would not say anything to Putin. He must be killed. The Prosecutor General's office and the SSU reported that an informant has been detained in Odesa Oblast who provided Russians with data on the location of units of Ukraine's armed forces and strategic facilities. Foreign Minister Dmitry Kuleba, at the Black Sea Security Conference in Bucharest, stated that a comprehensive security strategy is needed for the countries of the Black Sea region, and the Black Sea should become what the Baltic Sea has already become, a sea under the auspices of NATO. For that, Kuleba supports the integration of Ukraine's defense systems with those of NATO allies in the Black and Baltic Sea. Next up, the latest regarding the situation in the occupied territories. Authorities in Crimea have decided to close the beaches on the peninsula and cancel this year's holiday season. Energoatom reported that a Russian mine has exploded near a power unit of the Zaporizhzhia nuclear power plant and that Russia has tried to keep it a secret from the IAEA. Ivan Fedorov, the mayor of Melitopol, reported an explosion in the center of the occupied city. Occupation authorities claim they intercepted a Ukrainian drone. According to Hanna Malya, Deputy Minister of Defense of Ukraine, Russian authorities in the occupied territories have started spreading false information to local residents. They claim that after a Ukrainian counteroffensive, residents would be treated as collaborators and punished. That is the reason why many agreed to be moved to other areas. Moving on to the news updates from Russia and Belarus. Russian President Vladimir Putin has personally approved the arrest of US reporter Ivan Gershkovich, whom Russia accuses of espionage. Russia's Federal Security Service, FSB, has said that the murder of propagandist Vladlen Tatarsky was organized by Ukrainian citizen Yuri Denisov and the country's Secret Service. Sergei Lavrov, the Russian foreign minister, is due to preside over a meeting of the UN Security Council in New York in April. However, the United States still needs to issue clearance for the arrival of the minister's special plane and visas for the Russian delegation. The Russian Federation is obliged to pay $5 billion in compensation for the losses caused by the seizure of Naftogaz Group's assets in the Autonomous Republic of Crimea in 2014. Russia will analyze the decision, Dmitry Peskov stated. And to wrap up the news segment, the international developments. The Norwegian Foreign Affairs Ministry announced that it had expelled 15 Russian intelligence officers from the country for engaging in activities that are not compatible with their diplomatic status. Ukrainian Prime Minister Denis Shmyhal has said that Ukraine is to receive at least $115 billion in long-term financial assistance from its international partners. The Council of the EU adopted a decision to allocate €1 billion under the European Peace Facility to ensure the immediate supply of artillery ammunition to Ukraine. The Swiss government will provide Ukraine with another 1.5 billion Swiss francs, about $1.7 billion in financial aid between 2025 and 2028. The Japanese government plans to provide Ukraine with $3.5 billion in direct budget support in 2023. Poland has sent an official request to Berlin to transfer MiG-29 fighter jets from the former German Democratic Republic to Ukraine. Berlin responded that the government wants to quickly decide on the issue. Later, it was reported that Berlin approved Poland's request. The European Union has added Wagner private military company and the Russian media organization FAN, linked to Kremlin oligarch Yevgeny Prigozhin, to the sanctions list. And now for the intelligence reports, starting with the UK Ministry of Defense. Some Russian cities bordering Ukraine have cancelled celebrations for the Victory Day on May 9th for security reasons. According to the Ministry of Defense of the UK, the different approaches to May 9th emphasize a sensitive communications challenge for the Kremlin. A look at the assessment by the Institute for the Study of War. The Kremlin's campaign of Russification in Ukraine is burning back into Russia itself as it continues to empower and amplify overtly nationalist voices and ideologies. The domestic ramifications of the acceptance of the ideology of Russification are manifested in the responses by Russian authorities and prominent Russian mill bloggers to ethnic minorities in Russia. These domestic-facing ramifications of Russification ironically continue to place the onus of the war effort on the communities that it marginalizes. Russian mill bloggers offered a muted response to a Kaluga Oblast court's refusal to hear a case against Russian military doctor and Union of Donbas Volunteers member Yuri Yevich for discrediting the Russian armed forces. The Russian nationalist community continues to glorify atrocities and advocate for the expansion of brutality. And with that, the recap is finished. If you're interested in details to any articles I mentioned, you can find links to them in the description as usual. If you enjoyed the report and found it informative, please consider sharing it with others and giving me a like. Thank you for tuning in and have a great day. You were listening to The Account. Slava Ukraini.